Hi Cancer, welcome to your October 2019 Astrology 33 bonus love reading. Thank you to those of you who've liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And just to let you guys know, actually we'll be starting personal readings up again in October. So if you're interested in that, just check out the description of the video for all the information on how to go about doing that. Alright, so with that out of the way, we'll talk about the main spread that we have here. So this is why I call it a bridging the gap spread, and on the left side we have the cards that represent your energy towards the connection with your main love interest, and on the right side we have the cards that represent their energy towards the connection. And these are the past energies, present energies, future energies. Then once we get through those, we'll actually look at some oracle cards to help gain some additional insight into the situation. That's where the bridging the gap dynamic comes into play. Alright, and then as for the decks being used, on the left side we have the Lover's Path Tarot, and on the right side we have the Tarot of Sexual Magic. Okay, so the first thing that came to my attention as I was laying out these cards is you have a lot of Aquarius energy on this side. So this can all be revolving around a friend, or maybe you guys actually might have some Aquarius placements in your own chart. Or because there's so much Aquarius energy in each position here, what that could be pointing to is if you feel like the energy is flipped, where maybe this is a person you're dealing with and then this is your energy, definitely trust that. Just wanted to get that out of the way. So yeah, starting with the past position on your side, we have the Five of Arrows. So this is the equivalent to the Five of Swords, and that's actually an Aquarius energy. Obviously, I was just saying how there's Aquarius energy all over this side, but what this can point to for you guys, Aquarius is your 8th house. So this can even be, especially if you look at the artwork in this card, this can even be that you guys might even had some arguments around sex. Like maybe one of you was way more into it than the other. You know what I mean? There could have been like a mismatch in sex drives. For others of you, there even could have been like a playing hard to get dynamic here, because I look at the way that she's like looking as the angel figure's trying to leave. It's like, oh wait, you know what I mean? Because the Five of Swords energy is always, to me, that energy of where you engage in a conflict where you know that nothing good is going to come out of it, but you still do it anyway. So to me, it could have been one of those things where, you went into it maybe thinking, oh, I'll just, maybe you guys were even trying to do that to spice things up, right? Like maybe you're like, oh, maybe we'll just start a little fight to get some passion going. I don't know. But the main thing is, I see with that is, it's like, if you look at her face, she's like, oh wait, I didn't actually want you to leave, So there definitely could have been some kind of fight that you guys had in the past. And usually the Five of Arrows energy represents a repetitive cycle too. So maybe this is just something you guys go through often. Alright, the past position on their side, we have the Queen of Wands. So this is actually an Aries energy. So you could be dealing with a fire sign, but most likely an Aries if that's the case. And what this can be saying there, as far as, maybe they were the ones who were a bit more passionate in a connection. If you're coming across as the Arrows or Swords energy, they're coming across as Wands energy. This could just be saying that, they're a lot more passionate about the connection, maybe. And I mean, Aries can have a temper too, to be fair. So if there was some kind of a fight between the two of you, obviously they could have contributed to it as well. But like I said, I feel like for some of you that even could have been what it was centered around in some way, shape, or form. Like whether or not to have sex, how often you're having sex, something along those lines. That's really what sticks out to me. And this can be someone from your workplace as well, since for you guys, Aries represents your 10th house of career and social status. So put that out there too. What's interesting is on your side in the present position, we have the Judgment card and we have the Grace card. So this is actually the equivalent of the Star card in regular tarot, which is the Aquarius Major Arcana card. So seeing these two together, I'm really feeling like with this Five of Arrows energy in the past, there's definitely a vibe that maybe you guys weren't even talking in the recent past because of whatever this fight was, whatever this disagreement was. And with the Judgment energy, it could just be saying that that's coming up for revisitation. And then with the Grace card here, it can just say that it would go over well if you guys were trying to reconcile. That's one way you could look at it. Another way, it could just be saying that you might have been getting signs and synchronicities to actually reach out to the person and repair the connection. The reason I say that is if you look, it looks like there's a fire under this person and it looks like she's sleeping. So to me, that always makes me think that, and obviously we see the angel symbolism there and they're like holding her. So to me, it could just be saying that spirit kind of lit a fire under your ass. It's like, all right, think with your heart, right? Maybe that's what they're saying there. It's like holding his heart, saying, use your heart and try to get things back off the ground with the person. So there could definitely be some reconciliation because even on their side too, in the present position, we have the Six of Cups energy, or Six of Chalices as it's called in this deck. But obviously we know that this is definitely a card that points to reconciliation energy too. It also represents the middle 10 degrees of Scorpio. So there's nothing there yet, but early in October, I think Mercury and then Venus will be there pretty early on. So for you guys, that's your fifth house too. So that could just be saying that, maybe as planets move through those degrees of Scorpio, that could be what helps respark this connection with the two of you. But yeah, I mean, even if this is a fire sign, this can just be saying that they're feeling nostalgic, looking back on the connection. Like I said, maybe there was a connection, but there could have just been some kind of like I said, I'm really feeling for a lot of you, could have been centered around sex in some way, shape, or form. Or maybe you guys just had very different approaches to the connection, and that might have led to some clashing, but looks like both of you want to get this back off the ground in the present. In the future position on your side, we have the King of Arrows. So this is actually Aquarius energy yet again. This is the court card for Aquarius. So one thing that stands out to me with this particular card, though, is he has his back turned to the cards on this side. So I don't know if this is just indicating that there's just a repetitive cycle with you guys where, it's on again, off again, right? Like constant back and forth in that regard. Or another way it could be playing out too, if we look at the way he's looking, and then at the bottom of the deck, we actually have Two of Cups, and that's what he's looking at. Two of Cups at the bottom of the deck. This is actually a Cancer card as well, I should point out, the first 10 degrees of Cancer. But to me, what's interesting is with this Two of Cups, it gives off a different vibe for me than the one in the Rider-Waite. But the reason I say that, we see the lightning in the background there. It looks like a storm definitely was passing through. This person's cup is knocked over. You can't even tell for sure if there's anything in her cup. So it has a different vibe for me than the Rider-Waite. When this could just be saying, it could point to the same thing that I'm feeling. Like I said, this could just be like an on again, off again thing between the two of you. Because I feel like there's conflict energy in the past where you guys probably weren't even speaking to each other. Then the Six of Cups and the Judgment, it's like coming back together, everything's good. And then I see the King of Arrows energy, and he's looking at the Two of Cups, yes, but it's this particular Two of Cups that looks like it's stormy, so it could just be one of those things where you guys might butt heads a lot. Alright, future energy on their side is Three of Wands. So again, this is another Aries energy, middle 10 degrees of Aries. And there's going to be a full moon in Aries too, actually, so that could be what this is all pointing to as well. In the house of career and social status. So to me, social status can include your labels as well, as far as, single, in a relationship, right, married, divorced, all those things to me could also play into the 10th house stuff. But to have the Three of Wands energy come in the future could just be saying that it's them, waiting for you to come back around. So even though we see that Six of Cups energy, this can just be saying that they do want to reconnect, but really they're putting it more on you to do so. And if that's the case, I could feel that it actually is probably the right thing in this particular case, just because, like I said, we do see the grace card there, and I feel like that's really like that fire being lit under that person. And, like I said, we see the angel symbolism, kind of like saying that, they're nudging you to make that move. Um, so definitely, I mean, you guys are very intuitive. So I guess the way I would explain that is, let's say you see a lot of synchronicities coming up. Maybe you turn on the TV and the show you guys used to watch together is on, or you hear some weird reference that makes you think of them. You put on the radio, a song that reminds you of them comes on, things along those lines. That could be the way that they're trying to get your attention. And, it looks like this person, while they do want to reconcile with that Six of Cups, it's definitely like they're looking back on the connection fondly. It looks like they're really waiting for you to do it with that Three of Wands energy, because that's, often referred to as the waiting for your ships to come in card, where it's like they feel like, all right, they've done the work. Maybe they just feel the balls in your court, right? Especially if you were the one who was the main offender in the Five of Swords last time, if they walked away, they're like, you know what? They're going to have to apologize to me, basically. And then we have the Ten of Wands at the bottom of the deck on their side, which could say, maybe they feel like they have been doing the majority of the work in the past. So that could be what's going on there, too, where they might feel that the connection's imbalanced in some way. So now they're like, all right, well, it's up to you to put in the work now. But it's interesting. It's like I said, with the King of Arrows energy there and your back turned to the spread altogether on their side, I'm not sure you guys are going to do it, even though, like I said, there can be signs nudging you to do it. So I don't know. And maybe that's just you really thinking about it, saying, well, all right, do I really want to go there again when this is how it always ends up, right? Like it starts out, the Two of Cups vibe, everything's good, but then there's the storm, cups get knocked over, right? It's just a tumultuous connection. So that could be what the issue is for you guys. You might just be reconsidering if you want to go there again. And like I said, with the Ten of Wands on their side, they could be feeling the same way, really. We'll see what the Oracle cards add to the mix. So I'm going to try to get some from the Mystic Moon Oracle deck first that I have here. And I do pre-shuffle this deck before we start recording. And the way I do this is I try to get some jumpers. So I'm looking first for any unspoken messages from you to them, and then I'll do from them to you after that. And, shuffle for a while. If I don't get anything, I just take that as an indicator to keep going and move on to the next deck. So we'll see if we get anything. I'll shuffle for a little bit longer. Nothing's came up yet. Okay, nothing coming up there, so I'll switch and see if we get any unspoken messages from them toward you. Almost had one there. Alright, I'll give it a few more shuffles. If nothing comes up, we'll just move on to the next deck. That happens sometimes. Since it is just a general, I'm not going to force it or pull one from the top or anything. Yeah, nothing coming up there. So let's check out the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. See if we get some additional messages from this one. Same deal, I did pre-shuffle this one. Oh, already got one. We got Thinker. Alright. There's the artwork for it. Oh, there we go. And the number is 44. So, just seeing that card being Thinker, this could just be pointing to all of that Aquarius energy and Swords energy in general. Could just be saying that you guys are really up in your head about the situation. So maybe that's what this was really pointing to all along. All right, it says strategy, being analytical and logical. So that also makes me think of that King of Arrows energy. The Oracle's message says the ability to reason and strategize is the focus now. Take things at face value and follow the logical path. Your calculations will prove to be correct, for in this moment there is no deeper meaning than what is obvious. Things are exactly as they seem. You have all the information you need. Keep it simple and you will win the game of life you're playing right now. So, pretty straightforward message there. And, like I said, as far as trusting your intuition, too, I think that aligns with that to a certain extent. All right, the relationship message says, love is not logical, but when you choose a partner, it is good to have things in common other than desire. This is a time to weigh the pros and cons of your partnership. If there is enough common ground, go for it. If not, there are other fish in the sea. Don't force it to work. And should others tell you who they are, take them at their word. Now is not the time to indulge in a fantasy. No matter what, in this case, the facts are the facts. So maybe that's actually what it is too, right? Because with that five of arrows energy, maybe that's even what it's pointing to, right? Like maybe you guys have really good sex, right? But okay, once it's over and you guys actually have to talk about day-to-day things, right? It ends up in fights all the time. So that could be what's going on there. Because normally you would think, okay, air and fire energy would get along well, but I mean, we're talking about you're a cups energy, right? And especially if this is an Aries, you guys square each other, like you're both cardinal signs. So whatever Aries placements they would have and your Cancer placements, those are like connections of tension, basically. So there could be a lot of tension, and maybe that's even what fuels the sexual energy sometimes. But then when it's time to just relate on a day to day level, you guys might end up in these circular arguments and patterns, right? So it's kind of a weird reading, to be honest with you, but hopefully that did resonate with you guys. We'll wrap up there, and I'll see you all next month. All right? Bye.